Hey guys, Terry here. Today I want to show you how I made a Christmas card using the Stampin' Up set Peaceful Boughs. So let's get started with the card base. I have started with Nina Solar White cardstock. It is 110 pounds weight, so that it is nice and sturdy for a card base. And I cut the 8.5 by 11 sheet in half, and then I'm going to score it using my score pal here at 5.5, and this will be what we make our card on. I am going to stamp the front of it here, making sure my card is opened up the right way. And I'm putting it down into the bottom of my MISTI. And I'm going to use this season's greeting. I've taken out the little pad out of my MISTI so that I can use the thicker rubber stamp. And I'm putting this down into the bottom corner. I'm starting with the sentiment down here because I want to make sure that I have room for it. I'm using VersaFine black ink here for my stamp. I'm inking that up. And then I'm going to clear emboss this. I love this ink, and I like to just make it even shinier with the clear embossing powder. So I'm going to put that here on the outside. I'm simply going to scoop up some. I've got it in this little tray here, so it's convenient to use it, because I use the clear and the white pretty frequently. So I'm going to heat up my embossing tool that I've had for years. And I'm just going to bring this to the paper here. And hopefully you'll see it get shiny. See there as it's melting? You don't want to burn the paper, and you don't want to keep it there too long because it will warp the paper. So that looks good. And then let's go ahead and stamp the inside while we've got the MISTI out here. So I'm going to put the sentiment here in the middle, line it up straight, and then I'm going to use my ink chamois here. These come clean, and then when you wet them and start using them, you get them dirty. You just rinse them out. But it's a chamois, and it just wipes off your stamps and keeps them nice and clean. But let's pick up this stamp and apply that VersaFine black ink. And I'll have links to these products. I don't sell these items, but I do like to have the links on my website so that if you like them, you can go find those products. I'm just giving it a good push down here. And I'm not going to emboss the inside here, but that looks good. And we've got our stamping done. So now let's move on to our die cutting. So when I bought the stamp set, it had a coordinating die set. These dies are the branches. So I'm going to cut that out of green, and then I'm going to cut the pine cones out of some browns. And each of the pine cones has a background, so that I can do this in one color and this in another color just to add dimension to it. So I'm going to do those in light and dark browns. So let me get my die cutting machine out here. Too many things on the table. So we're going to cut this out of browns and greens. And I am making my die cutting sandwich out of my platform one of the pads, the green, and then I'm also going to add, let me cut this one in half here. I'm going to add another piece of cardstock underneath this, just to give it a little bit more, I think it'll just help with the die to just make it cut out better. I'm going to take this over to my Big Shot machine and crank it through. Just wound that through the machine. And you'll have to play with your machine to see how the dies cut. But look how good that came out. It really came good with 2 pieces of cardstock in there. So there's the green. And then let's do our browns. So this will be our light brown that we use with the backgrounds. Trying to get it all to fit on here. And then we'll put the dark brown on here. And I just have that green in the background here just to, like I said, just to, sometimes on these intricate dies, you just want one more sliver of just something to help that die cut through. And then I'm winding it through the Big Shot and then back through it again. So these dies here probably didn't need the 2 extra layers. Those cut really smoothly. But these ones with the intricate pieces, notice how that die popped right off of there. That's because I had the extra layer of cardstock. And if you ever need to get those little pieces out of here, just drop the die on a surface and those pieces will pop out. And you want to make sure you have those pieces out before you run it through again. But these came out really good by running it through with the extra pieces of paper. Look how that comes right off. And then you can take your tweezers and pop those other little pieces out. Okay, so we'll glue these pieces and layer up these pine cones. Yep, definitely having that extra piece of cardstock in there really helped. Okay, so let's glue those pieces together and we'll be ready to put them on the cardstock. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, so this green one has some little pieces too to pop out. That looks good. So I'm going to take my Versamark and I want to add some snow to this. So what I'm doing is I'm just inking up the edges of these little branches here. Versamark is just a really sticky ink pad. Did I say sticky or stinky? And then I'm going to put white on here. And this is going to make it look like snow on here. So this dry embossing powder is going to stick where that Versamark was. And you can take a little paintbrush, tap, and then maybe make the edges so they're not completely straight. And then you just take your heat gun and melt that again. So I'm going to hold it with my tweezers because you don't want to burn your fingers. And we're just going to let that white powder melt again. I'm doing this on a glass table, so it's not hurting my desk. Okay. And I don't think you can make the snow look wrong. So now let's glue the pine cones together. And the liquid glue that I'm using is Tombow. I find this works well, and it dries clear also. So I'm just putting it around the edges here, giving it a good coating, and then I'm putting it on this background. And if you notice, I used kind of a medium brown and a dark brown. And I like the liquid glue because I could scoot this around and get it in place before I get it on there. So that one looks good. And then we'll do it on this one too. One little piece there. And let's get the glue on it. And then we'll put snow on the pine cones too. That looks good. And I want this glue to melt or to dry before I put the embossing powder on. So this first one looks dry. I'm going to again coat around the outside of the pine cone here, just getting the edge a little bit wet with that, and then I'll put the embossing powder on, tap it off, and then there's the piece that's still got it coated. Again, I'm going to use my tweezers. I love the look of the snow on these. It's really cute. So this one, put some snow all over it. You can take off as much of the powder as you want to before you melt it on there. Okay, now let's pop this onto our card. So I'm putting glue on the back of my branch here. And there was a couple dies in here for the branches, so you could put as much branch coverage as you wanted on your card. I kept mine simple. The other thing I noticed was the stamps for the branches. Where's the card? Where's the ink case here? Where's the... I'll show you here. I like my little magnetic board here just to hold these in place while it's gluing. While it's drying. Where did I put the stamp case? Oh, here it is. So yeah, if you notice these dies, the branch die does not match the die. Where'd the die go? Here he is. Sorry about that. These dies don't match the branches, so I'd have to look at the sample in the catalog to know how this was, even this one. So I think you can either stamp on your card or you can die cut, but they don't really, they're so intricate, I don't know that you could have stamped them and then die cut them in the right place. So then the last thing I'm going to do is pop up my little pine cones. So I'm going to put one on the little one, and we'll put two on this larger one, and these are just pop dots. They're sticky on both sides. And this will be our last step, is to put the pine cones on here. Again, I don't think there's a wrong way to do it. I think it's going to look cute on this branch. Just kind of lay them where you want to. And I think that looks really cute. So, isn't that nice? The pine cones have dimension. Just have a nice dimension on the card. And I like the sentiment, and I like the saying on the inside. So this was the one I had previously made. So experiment with the colors of green that you use for the branches, and putting the snow on, and layering the pine cones. But thanks, guys. If you want to help me out, you can subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000. And I will have links to these items on my website. And I hope you guys have a great day. So, thanks, guys.